For this last exercise for artboard number 6, we're going to bring artboard 6 into view. I'm going to hold my space bar down to get the grabber hand to move it over onto the screen a little bit better. I'm going to practice this in an area up above the sample that they're showing us here so we can talk about how this works. Now in this case, we're going to be creating a path that starts out with a bump up, then has a straight segment, then goes to a bump down, then goes to a straight segment, then goes to a bump up, or what you could call, I'm calling them bumps, I also mean curves. Curve up, straight, curve down, straight, curve up. That's the pattern we're going to create here. It's a little bit different when you combine curves and straights together. So we're going to start the way you normally would start, by creating just a regular curve. So I'm going to create a curve that goes up. I'm going to set my mouse button down and slide up. Then I'm going to move over from my starting point, set my mouse button down and slide down. At this point, there's nothing different. Everything's the same as it normally is in creating a curve. Here's where it gets a little confusing. You're thinking, okay, I want to create another segment over here and I want this to be straight. And you probably remember that if you hold the shift key down, it would give you a straight segment. But that's not going to happen in this case. Look what does happen. Even though I shift clicked to make a straight segment, this piece back here, I'm going to deselect, this piece back here is coming out of that thinking it's still going to be a curve, which is forcing a dip down in the next segment. So you can't do it that way. I'm going to start over here, backspace, backspace, or delete, delete. Those little, if you're seeing little dots on the screen, they're remnants that are not really there. If I scroll a little bit, you can see that they disappear. It's just some visual screen garbage that kind of hung around when I deleted. Okay, I'm ready to start it again. This time we're going to do it the proper way. I'm going to set and slide up, go over to where I want the curve to end, set and slide down. Everything's the same as normal there. I've got a nice looking curve. To start a straight segment, I have to return to the last anchor point I was on. When I get back to that anchor point, notice an upside down V shape, which is the Convert Anchor Point tool, grows out near the bottom of my pen tool to indicate I'm changing from a curve to a corner type of a point. So I'm converting from a curve to a corner. I'm going to click there to indicate that's going to be the beginning of a straight segment. Now, if I want it to be truly straight, as I do here, a 180-degree straight line, I'm going to hold my shift key down, which will lock it in or constrain it to a straight. So now I've connected a straight segment to a curved segment by changing that curve into a corner. Now, in this case, I want to go back and make a curve again. So again, I have to revisit that same last point, the end of the shift of the straight line, which was created with the shift key. I go back there again. I see that Convert Anchor Point tool again. I set and slide down to indicate it's going to be a curve here that heads in a downward fashion. Now I'm going to go over to where I want that curve to end, set and slide up to make the end of that curve. Again, if I want to create a straight segment, I can't just come over here and click. I have to revisit my last anchor point, do a click to indicate it's going to become the beginning of a straight segment, come over here to where I want it to end. I'm going to hold my shift key down to keep it truly straight and shift click there. Now I'm going to head into a curve again, so I'm going to set and slide up and then come over to where I want it to end and set and slide down. So in each case, after I did the second anchor point of each segment, I had to revisit the second anchor point. Let's try it again. This time I'll do it down here at the bottom. I'm going to set here next to the word practice, set and slide up, come over to where I want that curve to end, set and slide down, release the mouse button, go back to the anchor point, revisit that anchor point, do a click to indicate the beginning of a straight segment, go over to where I want the straight segment to end. If I hold my shift key down, it'll force it to be truly straight, do a click to end that segment. Now I want to change to a different kind of an anchor point. I want it to become a curve, so I'm going to go back revisiting that same point, set and slide down, move over to where I want that to end, that part of the curve, set and slide up, releasing my mouse button at the end. Now I'm ready to revisit that point with a click at the beginning of the straight segment, going over to the right, a shift key down to keep it truly straight, click at the end of that segment. Now I'm ready to make my last curve. Again, I have to revisit that same anchor point that had been the end of a straight segment, and I'm going to set and slide up to turn it into the beginning of a curved segment, and then go back to where I want the whole path to end. with a curve, set and slide down. And of course you can always visit your anchor point or your direct selection tool to click on any of these segments and make any adjustments that you need to if it's lopsided or something. So I'm ready to do it on this bottom piece here as another practice time. I'm going to start. I got my mouse in the starting mode because there's a star next to it. Set and slide up, set and slide down. These little anchor template things here, these little anchor things are here to help you remember to keep it straight. And you got a visual right there. It's not going to work if you just move over. You have to revisit with a click to convert it to that corner to a true corner, that anchor point to a true corner. And then I'm going to hold my shift key down and click here, set and slide down, come over to this spot here, come back on to this spot, set and slide up. I'm going to go back over here to the same point, revisit it with a click at the beginning, hold the shift key down, click at the end. Now I got to revisit it again, set and slide up, come over to the end, set and slide down. And if I wanted this to be straighter, whoops, let's disconnect with holding down the command or the control key and clicking off of it. I can get my direct selection tool, come in here and make adjustments to it if I need to do that. If I wanted this to be lined up better, I could have pulled a guideline down, which would have helped me to make sure that this segment here was perfectly in line with that segment. And again, you can tweak it more. And one more try at the bottom here just to make sure we have a good understanding of how this tool works. This time I think I'll do it the opposite direction. So I'm going to set and slide down, come over here, set and slide up. What do I need to do now? That's right, I need to come back and revisit that anchor point with a click at the beginning of the straight segment, hold my shift key down to keep it truly straight, and a click at the end. Now I revisit that point and set and slide up because I want the next curve to go up. Come over here, set and slide down. That one's going to need fixing a little because I didn't get it in line with the other one. But that's okay, they're easy to fix later. Revisit that anchor point by going back to that spot with a click for the beginning of my straight segment, holding my shift key down, come over here at the end and make a shift click on the end to keep it truly straight. And again, I want this one to go down, so I'm going to set and slide down and then finalize the whole path by set and slide up. I'm going to click off of it with my control or command key held down to deselect. And if I want to be more picky about how straight it is, I can come in here and make adjustments to it to try to line things up better. Now this might be a case where you'd want to work with your smart guides on because that can help you keep things in line, or you can just use your eye to do it if you don't want to turn on the guidelines. And for what we're doing here today, I'm not going to be real picky that things be absolutely straight. I'm more concerned that you make one continuous path and that you know how to maneuver at the different places. You know how to make that happen. So that ends our practice exercise for this lesson, and we will be moving into the second part of the lesson here. Refer to your lecture notes to see where we're going next. Be sure you save this file so that when you close it, you'll be able to submit this with all 6 artboards in it. I'm going to just do a file save here. I've already named it when I started the first artboard. And so that's where I'm going to end up with it, and go back to your notes now.